Hi there. This is Cooper from Ray Olson Family Financial Planning. And today, what I wanted to do was take a look at your life legacy planning tool, Everplans. Now, we're really passionate about Everplans because we see the value that it brings to our clients' lives on a daily basis. I don't want to get morbid, but I do just want to ask you this question. Are you confident that you have put the system in place for your loved ones to carry on with their lives if something were to happen to you unexpectedly? You don't need to answer that question, but I do want to just say this platform gives you the ability to do just that and be confident that all of your information and all of your intentions are stored in a secure portal. All you will need to do to take advantage of this platform is accept the invitation that we sent to your email. So in your email, it will look just like this. And what you will do is click the Activate Your Everplans account. When you do that, it will prompt you over to this page. And this brings you to Everplans itself. Once you are in Everplans, you can go ahead and click Activate Your Everplans account. That is going to prompt you to create an account. And I'm going to get rid of this page. So we're all focused on creating this account. So it's going to ask you just some basic information to set up the account. I'm just going to put in some information. It's going to bring you right into your portal. And first, it's going to tell you about security. Obviously, this is sensitive information, and security is our number one concern. And luckily, we feel very confident with Everplans and how serious they are about security. Going on the security, we please urge you to set up two-step authentication. So all this is selecting a email address or a phone number to get a code every time you log in. So that way, no one can log in unless they have access to your phone and the password. For me today, I'm not going to do it, but please add that extra level of security. Next, it's just going to ask you for reminders. I encourage you to opt in for those reminders and staying up to date with any changes. And finally, it's going to bring us to our portal. And it's going to have this kind of interactive tutorial on how to get started. So that's what I'm going to go through today and focus on a few other things. So it's going to bring us to a bunch of questions, and you just need to answer these questions based on your own information. So for tutorial purposes, I'm going to select everything in this list. And then I have a wonderful wife. Since this is John Smith, so just a made up account, I'm going to say Jane Smith is my wonderful wife. And so now it is going to get us set up and we can view the dashboard. And so the most important thing to get started is this section right here. And these are suggestions based on those answers you just gave. So you can scroll through them and see everything that they recommend you input into Everplans. A few important ones that I do want to mention: where you keep your passwords. This is a really big one. If you don't have some sort of password management tool, a document that has all of your user ID and passwords, please, please, please put that in here. I cannot tell you how many people have had a hard time being able to pay bills or locate banking information or anything like that because they don't have the password. So please take your time and inputs these passwords. If it's a file on the computer, if it's just a piece of paper that you have stashed away, please just put that in there and then tell them where you have that stored. You can also include any notes or instructions. And if it is a Word document, then you can go ahead and upload it in there. If you have a password manager, you can go ahead and put information on that password manager. The next thing I do want to highlight, your will. So your will is a super important document. Once you click on this will section, it's going to prompt you to go through a few things. It's going to ask you where the original copy is. So you want to put that in there. So I'm going to say I have one in a lockbox stored away. Who is the primary executor on the will? So this is actually my wife. And so I'm going to push add someone new, and I'm going to add my wife, Jane Smith. So we have her in there. And what's awesome about Everplans is once you add one contact, it will be in there moving forward. So you don't have to go ahead and add more contacts in. You can just select them from the list. So if you have any dependents, that is when you would go ahead and put dependents in here as well. I don't have any dependents in this situation, so I'm not going to add anyone here, and I'm just going to move on to the next one. Next, it's going to ask you who the attorney is on your will. So you're going to go ahead and add an attorney in here by saying add someone new. I'm going to say Mike. Next, it's going to ask you for a digital copy of your will. Now, we definitely recommend doing this. If you're not comfortable with putting it online, then it's not totally necessary. But if you could put a digital copy of it in here, we 100% recommend you do. Finally, you can add any sort of instructions in regards to your will. If you have it in a safety deposit box, you can put where the key is located, or you can put anything else that you see fit in there. So that takes just a couple minutes, and then we're all set. The will is in there, and you'll never have to adjust that again. Another thing that we say is important to go through this living preferences one. And so this is just going to ask you some questions on what you would be open to in terms of a living situation later on in our lives. Because this is not necessarily something that you would think about or document, this gives you the perfect opportunity to take advantage of that and ensure that you don't get put into a situation in a nursing home or anything like that that you aren't comfortable with. So if you could take the time to go through that and just answer those questions, and then have any sort of documents you want to include in there or any notes and instructions, go ahead and save that in there. It's really simple. We do recommend you take out a good chunk of your day in the afternoon or morning or on a rainy Sunday and just devote a couple hours to this. We've had clients who've been able to get it done in a couple hours. It's really just inputting as much information as you possibly can. One thing with the home, I do want just to mention, what you can do in here is multifaceted. So you can put just the basic information of the home, but then you can also list all of the utilities and the user IDs and passwords, how you pay for them, and all those things. So some of these sections can get a little bit cumbersome just depending on how much information you are populating. But the most important thing is getting it in there. I promise you, you will not regret putting the information in there. It's just a matter of putting the time in and making sure you are comfortable in the situation that could present itself. One of the other things I do want to just briefly mention is this deputies feature. And what deputies are just people in our lives that we trust with some of this information. So we can input deputies for your wife, your kids, your professional connections like a CPA or an attorney. What you can essentially do is grant them permissions. So for an example, I'm going to put, and so what I can do now is I can say exactly what Jane is able to access in this Everplans. So for me, I'm completely transparent with my wife. And so I'm going to include all of this information. So to do that, I would select all of now. But if you weren't comfortable in sharing some information, you can share information after you pass away. So if you say, I don't want this person to see my financials until after I pass away, you can go ahead and put that. And what it's going to do is it's going to ping that deputy and alert them that there's information after the event of your passing. You can go ahead and this is the process to do the unlock after the death section. So if you were to lock any information from this deputy until after you passed away, you can go ahead and set exactly how you want that to be done. So 2 days after is a good rule of thumb. And then lastly, you can add a personal message to the invitation, which is always nice to have. And then once you push send invitation, it's actually going to send that email. You can see the preview invitation. And so it's going to send that email right away, alerting them to it. So deputies are extremely important to include in the plan. Last thing I do want to just point out briefly is this resources section from Everplans. And so I know this can get overwhelming, and a lot of us really like checklists to keep us motivated and be able to organize our thoughts. And so if you go ahead and you click on the resources, you can see checklists for all of these things that you can print out and go through. If you click the see all resources, there's just a lot of information that you can go ahead and take advantage of. So I'm going to bring you back to the dashboard because this is where all the information lies, and this is where you will spend the majority of your time in Everplans. I just want to say that I really do hope that you take advantage of this platform and provide yourself some peace of mind. If you have any questions or any issues getting oriented to Everplans, please, please, please do not hesitate to just reach out to me directly. I would be more than happy to help you out. I really do hope that this tutorial was helpful, and I do hope that you take advantage of this platform. Thank you.